I'm going to take some time to reminisce of the days of the Yeshiva Rebel, really the heyday of the Yeshiva Rebel, because the Yeshiva Rebel in recent times has been publicized. People know about it. It's not as underground as it was in the 90s. 90s, like 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, the days when everyone who was a Yeshiva Rebel had to listen to Metallica. Metallica! It wasn't, it was the days when, like, Black Attitude and Metallica. Remember those people? Piamento's the greatest guitarist in the world. I remember everyone used to say that was great. He had this little blurb in time, like, this big, and he's the greatest guitarist in the world. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Give me a break. I mean, just because he's religious and he's Jewish, he's got that whole hippie thing going on, does not make him the greatest guitarist in the world. Anyway, Yeshiva Rebels. I went to Yeshiva in Rochester, and it was a rebel school, so I had some exposure. Unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to be a true Yeshiva rebel, growing up modern, talking to girls, going to co-ed camp, going to co-ed school, and then suddenly thrust into this Yeshiva sort of environment. To me, it was the most yeshivish thing in the world. Kids with hats at Chakras. What the heck are you wearing a black hat at Chakras for? I had a green hat that I bought in Sears for $28 because we could wear whatever we wanted, but it was just a total flip side of my life. And I only went there because my dad went to all these hardcore yeshivas, and he thought I should learn Gemara, and you go to yeshiva, and you don't go to modern school. And personally, I hate Gemara, and I never did it. I'm more of a Hasidus and maybe Musar and that sort of stuff. So it's really my field. But yeshiva rebel days were marked by a lot of controversy. There was, I think, in the late 90s, there was an article in the Jewish Observer. It wasn't an article, it was a whole issue about the kids at risk. The Yeshiva Rebels. They called them kids at risk. They still call them kids at risk. Dude, they're not at risk. They're over. They're off the derech. But they were never off the derech. They were like social orthodox. A lot of them most of them had Jewish friends. They hung out with Jews. They still had the talk, but they were doing drugs, and they were doing the girls, and they were doing the whole thing, basically. So some Yeshiva Rebel hangouts of back in the day. Woodburn's classic. Woodburn was the classic hangout. I remember my first time in Woodburn. Me and my buddy Jerry were up there. My dad dropped us off. No parents dropped you off. Kids, somehow got rides. Kids used to drive up from Brooklyn just to hang out in Woodburn on Main Street on Saturday night just to, dodge the spies from the schools and, meet these girls, under the bridge, by the Never Sink River. That was a big spot. Go to, the PJ's game room and play skee ball and try and look at girls. There was always these fights, and there were all these little kids hanging out. They had the big Jenko jeans with the chain and the little man on the back, and then they would always be talking about Metallica. Korn was also a big band back in the day. All the grunge bands and Metallica. And GNR also. Guns N' Roses for some reason also kind of molded in there. So there's Woodburn. Kiamisha Lanes was classic. People would hitchhike from Woodburn to Kiamisha Lanes. And you'd always have these, Sternberg counselors and, Romu kids. Romu's kind of like that, rebel kind of mugging off. The modern yeshiva camps, the kids who are, sort of modern, but they go to the non-co-ed camps. Then you'd have always these, modern kids who are yo, I'm cool because I'm wearing pants and I'm a girl. Because the girls, you'd see, some of them would change into pants and then they'd wear skirts. And it was a whole thing, man. Kiamisha was sick, man. It was they had those disco lights and it was, hanging out. And there was always the token Hasidic kids, chilling, and it was good times. And then there was Chaim Berlin on Purim. Chaim Berlin on Purim was classic. I only went once personally, but I heard it was there were fights and people beating each other up. There was huge black dudes standing outside, no girls can go in. You went inside, and it was a bunch of drunken yeshiva guys. Why? How on earth it became a hangout? I have no idea why. If anyone from Brooklyn, these are Brooklyn things, knows. Maybe you can tell me. Playboy, Primetime, Avenue J, man. Pizza Time, dude. Pizza Time was classic, man. Even Circa. Circa was the later Yeshiva Rebel. Yeshiva Rebels and, the good girls that wanted to look at guys, and the good guys that wanted to look at girls but needed a good venue to do it so they can look across the room at each other but not actually talk. So that was the, sort of kids at risk, but not really. They're still good kids. They want to be rebellious, but they don't want to, deal with, busted livers from snorting too much Xanax and Tylenol PM, so that sort of thing. In my day, it wasn't pharmaceuticals, man. It was it was pot, and it was, well, there was probably a lot of other stuff going on, but when I was in high school, all I was exposed to was freaking mushrooms and weed. That's it. And I never partook really in high school. Maybe after high school, but I've never smoked anything in my life. Actually, I've never even smoked hookah. Everyone has. My dad smokes. Well, my dad's probably smoked pot too, but everyone smokes hookah. I just something about smoking. It doesn't sit right. I don't know. So we had Chamberlain with Simchas Beis Shevos in Crown Heights. Big deal. I remember like they used to put out ads. It's not going to be mixed this year. There will be no mingling. And I went once also. Like, I had to see all these things. And I always went, and I was like, what? This is so stupid. Let's go to a skate park and drink Mountain Dew and listen to punk rock. Like, that was my idea of fun. I was just like, who cares? There's a bunch of cute 15-year-old girls. That's great. I was 15, by the way. I wasn't 26. And, wow, that's awesome. But this is dumb. I mean, it's a bunch of Jews hanging out. Everyone had to smoke, and everyone had to, like, be like dopey looking and act like really stupid. It was really dumb, and I'm sure it's like that now. Now it's the Facebook generation. Now they're on Facebook, and they're on Second Life. They're probably all into video games and like pharmaceuticals and harder drugs. Now Vikings, big thing. So we had those. We had Woodburn Kaimish. I'm trying to think over here. There were a few things. The Jingo Jings were very, very important. Airwalks. Everyone wore airwalks. Airwalks were very important. Also, like flannel short sleeve shirts with like sleeves up to here. I don't know why there were like certain styles that pervaded the Yeshiva Rebel times, and it was just like the early. It was really a late '90s Yeshiva Rebel syndrome. Now I think it's gone all haywired. I don't think the Yeshiva Rebels even hang out with Jews anymore, and they're much more secular influence. There's much more stuff going on. I remember the spies. These girls would always be looking around, oh my God, there's a woman from my school. And to me, I can't believe this. This is amazing. I mean, it's like an FBI thing, It was good times, man.